welcome everyone tonight. It's such an honor to be here and a real privilege, because as I look out, I think about this generational opportunity that we have to change healthcare. And I'm so excited that the people that we have in this room are people that bring great energy and personify the type of collaboration that's needed to do exactly that. As you can see, many in this room have been through our fair share of battles and scars, and I'm no different. And I'd like to tell you about, but not show you, a few of mine. As many of you know, I'm an avid cycler, and that's my preferred method of commuting. One morning I was particularly looking forward to a nice commute to work. And it was a bit foggy outside, and my wife Erin said it would probably be best if I took the car instead of the bike. But I had been down this path so many times. I had ridden this route so many times I knew it like the back of my hand. So onto the bike I got and put on my trusted helmet. And as I was whizzing down that hill, thinking just how right I am, I hit a curb that apparently has been there the entire time. Flying over my handlebars, I thought to myself, this isn't good. And because of that particular accident, I always carry with me this scar on my right shin. It reminds me of two things. The first is we should always listen to our partners and spouses. The second is that no matter how certain we are of the path that we're going down, no matter how sure we are, it's important to listen to those around us who have our best interests at heart, and to make sure that although that we're certain that we know the way, that we stop and recalibrate at every step. The next scar I'd like to share with you is on my left occiput. We were invited a few years ago to visit friends who have a cabin up in the Laurentians. Now, all of our other friends who have been there have gotten very, very sick. But this was an earnest invitation, and we found ourselves in the area, and so we happily accepted the invitation. We thought the reason that everyone else got sick was because obviously they didn't drink the right water, they weren't healthy enough. Perhaps they'd been drinking smoothies instead of getting vaccines. And so thinking ourselves to be better than everyone else, we went and had a wonderful time on the first day, and swam in the lake, and played the second day. And on the third day, as we were getting ready to go, I started to feel a little bit queasy. By that night, there was a tornado in my stomach. And the last thing that I remember is getting up and going to the washroom, and then waking up some indeterminate time later with a wet, warm throbbing in the back of my head and some large deficit when I tried to touch it that was repaired about 12 hours later thanks to the Quebec medical system. So whenever I get a haircut and I can see the look of consternation in my stylist's eyes as she goes over that gnarly bump, I think to myself, it's so important to learn from the lessons of others. And that as we're pulling our ship into harbor, if we see a few other wrecks, maybe it's best for us to turn the vessel around. The last scar I'd like to talk to you about is my left elbow. Almost exactly a year ago today, at the annual general meeting, I felt some pain in my left elbow, and it swelled up, and it hurt. But I thought nothing of it, probably just an overuse type injury, the like of which I've seen many times before in my office, as we all have. Over the subsiding weeks, the swelling and pain went down, but all of a sudden I couldn't move my elbow. Well, the doctor became patient, and as I went through my journey through the medical system, through x-rays and ultrasounds and MRIs and CTs, it became apparent that I had quite severe osteoarthritis. Thankfully, through the care of a wonderful medical team, I'm now able to almost fully extend my arm, but according to the experts, it is now functional. The lesson that I've learned from this, of why a man my age would develop severe arthritis in his non-dominant hand, or his non-dominant elbow, is sometimes shit happens. And when it does, it's important that we have people around us to help out. For me, I was lucky that I had a wonderful orthopedic surgeon, an expert rheumatologist, a strong primary caregiver. And that diversity of opinions and that diversity of advice helped me within the course of a year get to the point where I can be on the podium gesticulating to you now. And that brings me back to what we talked about at the beginning, that it's about teamwork. It's about diversity. It's about working together. And I recognize that we haven't always been good at this. As a white male born in Canada to two loving parents, I recognize the advantages that I've had that other people haven't. I recognize the need that we have to give voice to people who are not as fortunate. And the importance of giving voice to diverse opinions. As an organization, you will all be proud that Doctors of BC is the first province in Canada to go down this road, to hire a consultant, to look at itself, to engage its members, to try and understand the challenges of diversity among us, and to try and find out how it is that we can better support our members, how we can better respect diversity, how we can better promote inclusion and create a space where people feel that they belong, so that we can give voice to the new ideas that will lead to new solutions that our healthcare system needs. And in doing so, I hope that we will model the type of conduct that society expects of us. We've certainly seen these worrisome changes of tribalism and divisive politics, people using identity and extremism for personal gain. We've seen sexism, racism, overt hate towards people who are seen or labeled as the other. Instead, let's celebrate our differences and let's focus on what we have in common. We are skilled, dedicated, hardworking healthcare professionals who are working to provide the best care possible. There will be differences of opinion, but we can discuss them with civility and with respect. Practice is changing, and the old lines that we've drawn to create identities no longer hold. When we think about GP specialists, but we take a look at our emergency rooms and our operating rooms and our case rooms, and we see doctors working shoulder to shoulder, whether they be Royal College certified or members of the College of Family Physicians, they're doing the same work towards the same end. When we talk about urban and rural, we have doctors that work in one center during the week and another on the weekend, who perform locums, who change location during their careers. So maybe it's better to focus on underserviced and more underserviced areas. Maybe it's better to start focusing on facility-based and community-based. And maybe what we can start doing is to get past these identity politics, to break down some of these barriers that we've set up, where we may unknowingly be creating division with our own profession. So what I'd like to see today is a show of hands. And I would like to see people join with me today as we focus on the commonalities that we have as doctors, our focus on patient care, that we will move beyond identity politics and othering, and we will be open to difficult conversations and tough debate, because we all have that common goal. So join with me tonight and raise your hands that tonight we start to move beyond identity politics and we come together as a profession, because that's what society needs from us. And that is how we are going to best accomplish our goals. Because at the end of the day, it's about relationships with each other As we've seen in Nanaimo and North Vancouver, issues of technology really aren't issues of technology, they're really issues of change management. And change management is just another way of saying relations and communication. And so as we have people here from the ministry, from health authorities, I look to you to continue the relationships that we have, to keep up the communication that we have. So as we go through the change process, as we create disruption, we can do it together, and we can do it positively. But for the rest of tonight, I'd like to take it down a notch and say that your goal for the rest of the night is to focus on those relationships. So reminisce with your friends that are in the room. Reach out and talk to those people that you haven't met yet. Eat reasonably, drink responsibly, and dance like there's no one watching. Thank you.